Welcome back to another edition of the B4evaKool podcast. My name is Fortyfive. This evening we got Reese in the building, Cheetah and Lewis. What's going on, guys? How y'all doing today?
What's good, man? How you doing?
Good, man. Trying to fight the good fight. Lost some power, but hopefully it's just it passed like anything else. How was your weekend, Lewis?
Good. Very eventful. A lot of things done. Went down to Road Atlanta for a short bit. Got to see my boy Reese there. Visit the riders that were out there and enjoy the event. I like Atlanta, man. Atlanta's always been one of my favorite tracks. Just the layout. It's pretty fan friendly. You get a lot of really good viewing places. Weather's always iffy, but you know, when it's dry, it's great. When it's wet, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Cheetah. Did you freeze for a second, or was that me?
I think that was you.
Oh man, this tech is crazy. I'll go back to Lewis. How does that feel? Like, you know, you go to MotoAmerica, you also go to MotoGP. I'm sure you go to other events as well. Do you kind of start every day like a new day fresh, or do you get kind of jaded with, like, you know, going to, like, you know, some of the European tracks and stuff like that, and then coming to the US and doing that?
Every event is different. Like, there's a different crowd for each event. Like MotoGP has a specific crowd that there's a portion of that crowd that you'll never see at a MotoAmerica event. Same thing with the European. Like, the European rounds are just more intense. Like, they get way bigger turnouts, even for like the CEVs or like the regional race series. Like, the amount of people that go out to see those races versus the amount of people that come to see MotoAmerica events is vastly different. I mean, it's night and day. However, Road Atlanta did have baggers, and the turnout was really good. Like, for some reason, anytime the baggers are there, you get this whole different segment that normally would not come out and support MotoAmerica, which I think is great, man. I think it exposes people to more of the racing, to more of the riders, and opens people's minds to come and see these events. Because, like, for instance, when I was at Atlanta this weekend, I knew the baggers were there before I got there, because when I got to my hotel, there was a line of Harley Davidson and Indians just parked in front of my hotel, man. I'm like, I know they're not just here for the riding. And sure enough, you know, they showed up at the track, man. They turn out to support the baggers, which is great.
Oh, that's what's up. Cheetah, you were at the track as well this weekend. Were you there for the SuperBikes or the baggers, man?
No, I was there for the SuperBikes. I didn't get to see the baggers, but the SuperBikes, the Super Sports, man, amazing to watch. It's always a great event. Road Atlanta, it's my home track, so it's super fun to go watch. It's something actually pretty special is that every time I go there, man, there's always someone I race with in the club racing scene that ends up in these pro races. So it's always good rooting for the locals as well as these people that come from out of state that are just crushing it. So. And I mean, I got to see Reese there for the first time, man. That was pretty cool. He told me a lot about what's going on with the TAC. So it's just really cool to have an inside look at MotoAmerica at your local track.
Oh, that's what's up, man. And Reese, man, what's good, man? You worked the whole weekend, stayed dry. It seems like you boys are in line, like you mentioned in some previous episodes.
I mean, it was a good event. I got to see Cheetah. You know, I got to see Lou. I mean, dry, man, we could say that. But, I mean, for the most part, I mean, like Lou said, I mean, you always get a great turnout in Atlanta. I got actually a chance to sneak away on Sunday's event, and it was kind of packed up there on the top of the hill. I'm surprised to see a lot of people. And you just get to see these guys that, you know, love the baggers, and, you know, they'll come out during autograph signing and they want SuperBike guys autographed. They're like amazed to see certain things, and it just gets another eyes on it. You know, we're starting to get more and more turnouts for these rounds, and it's kind of impressive. You know, it's actually starting to slowly but surely. It's building. It's not, you know, it probably never go back to where it used to be, but it's building. It's in its right step, I should say.
Gotcha. I don't know what it used to be, but the way you're making it sound like it was sold out and there were a lot of debauchery going on.
Yeah, back in the day, Lou could tell you. I mean, it was sold out. We had rivalries on every class. You had rivalries on every class, from Super Sport to Super Bike. I mean, you have rivalries in your own team. So, from Ben Spies and Matt Mladen hating each other. So, I mean, we can go way back. So it's getting there. I mean, we got rivalries now going on inside the paddock.
Okay. I had a follow-up question, I guess, for all you guys as well. You're talking about rivalries and stuff like that. I saw an interview with Scott Redden, and he's talking about how racing has changed because these guys all practice together, hang out with each other, and race with each other. And Scott was saying back in the day with Rossi and Lorenzo and some of these other guys, there was none of that. And you kind of mentioned, how it was in the past. Do you like how things are today, even though you mentioned there's a little bit of rivalry going on? Do you like how things are today with how riders are and stuff like that? Or do you miss those days of, people throwing wrenches at each other?
I mean, everybody missed those days, man. Those were the days. I mean, the racing is okay now. I mean, but I think it's nice when there is a little bit of rivalry. A little bit more aggression goes on the track. There's a little bit more, bumping elbows, as you call, when it's, rubbing elbows is racing. But it's also good for the fans to see it. When they see a little bit of intense rivalries. Every fan knows, they love drama. So they see it and they just eat it up, and it brings more, people to the track because they want to see it. They just want to be around it. Sometimes it sucks, but it's just like, sometimes it's good. And it just actually creates more, more publicity for people.
That's what's up. Cheetah, you and I weren't around back then. I just got to watch it through videos. But one of us is maybe was around back then. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I do love that. I do love the rivalry. I do love it on and off track. It makes for more fun racing, I think. I think me and Luce kind of side with the same thing. We've talked about this before. We love that rivalry. And it's fun, man. I mean, you got to bring it back. It creates the character. It brings out like what's going to happen now, and are they going to take it to the races, and who's going to bump who, and is he going to be close enough to even cause any chaos now on the track? So we all love that. I think it should be sort of publicized a little bit more, but of course, man, I enjoy it. Who doesn't, right? It's always good to see the fights.
Lewis, you're a fan of that. Your Dainese hat. Do you guys like to tone that down, or does that sell more suits?
No, we don't. We don't tell our riders how to act or anything like that. That's up to them and the team and their management and how they want to be perceived in the public. But I always said, if you're an elite athlete and you're competing at that top level, if you have that drive to be the best, then it's gonna swirl controversy. You're gonna probably say things or do things that others don't like, or that rub certain people the wrong way. Mm-hmm. I don't mind them training together because, to be honest with you, like they say, iron sharpens iron. And if you're racing against the best and you're practicing against the best, it should elevate your game. I think that's what's happening right now with Marquez and his brother. Mark and Alex ride against each other all the time. And, Alex's level has to come up if he wants to keep up with his brother. And as far as controversy, man, I mean, controversy sells. It's always sold. In the past, it was a little bit more public. Now, because the money involved, and especially in higher racing, MotoGP and so forth, the riders tend to be a little bit more subdued. But every once in a while, you get a flare up. Somebody takes somebody out in the corner and he goes over and smashes him in the helmet. And then all of a sudden he's got a $25,000 fine or a long lap penalty. Like, I think that's a little excessive. Like, right. You can penalize me money, but don't penalize my ability on the track by giving me a long lap penalty or a 5 grid position start or something like that, because now you're impeding my ability to show my talent. But if I punch you in the face and it cost me $50,000, then I have to think about, was it worth that 50? And maybe it was worth that 50, man.
For some people, listen.
People, it's like, yo, I'm going to sign you a check right now for $250,000. There's right. 5 people that are going to catch a hot one.
It's like Mark Cuban. When Mark Cuban was standing on stage, Mark Cuban was like, he dropped the F-bomb. You're going to have to pay a donation thing. He said, oh, if I drop the F-bomb. And then he said, fuck it. And he says it again.
Yeah.
He pays another
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
Rashid Wallace and these guys used to pay a lot. Matt Barnes, they talk about almost up in the millions in fines over the years of just doing stuff. Let's talk about the racing. Racing on Saturday. Reese, we'll save the you're working, so we'll save it for last. Between the Super Sport and the Superbike with all the rain and stuff like that, what was more impressive to you guys? Is Superbike race or the Super Sport race? You see Josh Hayes again. Man, if it rained all year, this guy might win a championship.
Yeah. Well, Hayes didn't come up too good this time, but he was obviously doing top 10 still. But I mean, as far as like what was more impressive with Superbike or Super Sport, definitely a subjective point of view, but I think I expected Matt to win. So I wasn't too surprised there when it was a dry race. But with Cam, I think I expected Cam Beaubier to always just be out front. But to see Fong in front like that again, given trouble and just stand right there was something I really was surprised to see. And not too surprised. I wanted to see that again, especially coming from the last rounds. But Fong's proven he's a real threat right now. So. And Heron wasn't able to give him too much smoke on track. So apparently there was something that might have happened off track, but it was just a very impressive race from Fong, in my opinion. And hopefully he continues this because he's got a lot to prove. I think he's on a year contract. So if he's going to keep doing this the way he is, he's setting himself up for another year, at least. And, I saw an interview of him, by the way, and he was just like so stoked to be on a factory team. And he almost felt like I didn't even expect it to come, is what he said. He was just like, I just, we always hope and pray, but they always pick somebody else. You're so close, but they pick somebody else. He said that. And to see him get this and to see him perform so well, lose all that weight, I'm just super stoked for him too.
Okay. What's up, Lewis?
Yeah, I think Saturday was the more turbulent day of the 2 days, just because the rain kept kind of peeking in, stepping out, and made the racing real interesting. Had a couple of crashes, even when it wasn't raining, because obviously it's a damn track. You hit the white lines, stuff might be moisture. So it was the more interesting of the 2 days. I don't think anybody's surprised by where Beaubier is finishing, because at the beginning of the year, most everybody had him as a favorite this year. And to agree with what we're talking about here, Bobby is doing his thing. He's not a great rain racer, and he was doing really well in the rain. Obviously, he had a tip over, and that cost him a bunch of spaces. But for a while, he was right up there in the top 6, top 5, and then he showed in the dry what he could do. On Sunday in the dry, he was able to hold his place, be the number 1 Yamaha. Try to keep Cameron Beaubier as honest as he could keep them. I mean, Cameron Beaubier, especially at this track, the BMW's definitely got that extra sauce that nobody else has, man. Down that back straightaway, you could just see he could pull some bike lengths really, really quickly coming off that last corner. And, I think that really helped him. And then just the abilities of the BMW. The BMW just seems to be the best package right now. And Cameron Beaubier is riding the best he's ridden in a couple of years. Hopefully he stays injury free, because I would like to see him competing right at the end of the year. I still think he's an amazing talent. And for the years that he wasn't here, that he was in Moto2, I know it was a great opportunity for him. But, road racing here in the U.S. really did miss him, man. He was an apex predator when he was here for a long time. So it's good to have him back and competing at that high level.
Oh, man. And Reese, man, you heard these two guys talk. I think from where you were standing, sitting, hanging out, working, and all that, your view was different than these guys. How was the race for the weekend for your team and stuff?
I mean, for my team, we were good. I mean, in the wet, we proved what we can do and what we can handle. Gagne sitting up there and trying to keep Beaubier honest, and then in the race too, it was a little setup issue. He kind of fell back, but Bobby held his own. And, I even said it from the get-go, from the beginning of the season. I said, Bobby's going to be a dark horse. And he's going to be somebody that people are kind of slacking on and sleeping. And not realizing that he's there, and he's going to surprise a bunch of people, and he's showing it right now. And you can see in his demeanor, his attitude, it's almost like a Marquez. I mean, he's happy, he's stoked, he's running around here smiling, he's always happy, and he's ready to go. He's ready for business. I mean, Jake is right there. I think the season's just beginning. I mean, if you guys look at points, I think Jake is 23 points behind Cameron. That's only one race. Mm-hmm. And that's sitting in second, and Bobby's now moved back up to fourth. He's sitting 3 points behind Heron, which is in third. So he's right there. So we're literally right there on top of our game. And in Super Sport, it's crazy. The one person I didn't hear a lot of people speak about, and that is on people's ass, is Blake Davis. He is right there. Yeah. He is right there. He held his own against PJ that was smoking hot in the second race. Yep. He held PJ to an honest round. So, I mean, you got to look at that too. So, I mean, there's a bunch of things that's going on that we're only 2 rounds in. We got a long season ahead of us. So anything can happen in racing, And like Lewis said, in Atlanta, I mean, the BMW, and the guys were saying it, you can just watch the BMW coming off the back corner back there, right down the back straightaway. They had no tire spin. It just hooked and was gone.
We saw that in Stock 1000. I mean, look who won the first 2 races in both Stock 1000s. 1 and 2 in both races were the same guys from the same team, both on BMWs, that were just stretching everybody. I mean, the guy in third place was almost irrelevant in both races. I mean, 1 and 2 just kind of walked away with the entire race in the Stock 1000 race. So that, again, that just goes to show you how potent and how well put together that BMW package is this year.
It was just good for Atlanta. They were built. That was their track to win.
Yeah.
Is that more or less what it is? It was just the right track for BMW? Because just looking at it, is about 3 guys in Superbike on BMWs. You know the way Bobier is riding, you would think there would be more.
It was just built right there. It's just like anything. It's like this bike may work good here at this track. Yep. This bike may work here at that track, and it was Atlanta just worked well with the BMW. If you actually look at the trap speeds, a lot of people's trap speeds weren't that far. They weren't that far off. It's just, hey, if I can get this thing to hook, I want to pull from you.
Yep.
And that's what it was. And I think it was maybe like 6 laps to go coming out of that back section, and we were watching splits. Bobby actually started catching more, putting time back on Cameron. He started putting back more time. And if you'd have had another couple more laps, his wheel would have been right there with Cam. He'd have been right there. But you can't do nothing when you get hooked like that. You just got to play the game out with tires.
Yeah, there's going to be some tracks that the BMW is going to struggle in because, this track, especially, again, with the long back straightaway, it could stretch its legs a little bit more. And if it's hooking really well, that's a long way to get a good drive if you hook really well out of that last double right-hander to go down the back straight. But then, you go to other tracks that you got to be on the side of the tire a little bit longer. They don't have as much long straightaways. And then you're going to see that, Yamaha is known for one thing, man, and that's handling. The corner speed and the handling of the Yamaha has always been on rails. So when you go to tracks where it uses the strengths of the Yamaha, you're going to see the Yamaha more potent. But, just to be there, like Reese was saying, for both Yamahas, one in the rain and one in the dry, to both keep Cameron honest at a track that, everybody suspected him to win, that was great, man. That was great for the attack team. And, I know that they're working on some juice box stuff right now. And the next round, they're probably going to have a little bit more get up and go. So
you guys are going to be selling juice box?
Juice boxes.
We'll see, man. I mean, you got Road America coming up, and everybody knows that back straightaway, that's in front. That's a long ways, man. Yeah. The top speed is going to be showing a lot.
Nice. And before we move on to World Superbike, we were talking off here a little bit about the baggers and the crowd that they're drawing. Do you guys feel like the baggers should be at all the rounds?
I mean, I don't know, man. I think it does bring in a different kind of crowd, so it's attracting that kind of crowd. I don't know if they're doing this very strategically on where they anticipate the most baggers are going to come out, or how this is working. But and also, can these baggers run every single run? I'm pretty sure they could, but is it a cost thing? Who knows what's behind the scenes? But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind them because you get more crowd, man. The whole thing becomes more fun. I saw so many baggers there this weekend that it truly told me, like, if they probably wouldn't have come out, I don't know. Yeah. They might not have come out if they didn't have the bagger race.
No, they don't come out, man. I'm telling you, if you go to the rounds that don't have bagger racing, the crowd is not there at all. There's no baggers, there's no sport glides, there's no Indians, there's no nothing, man. And then, I don't think they want to do it at every round, because there's some rounds that I don't even think if you had baggers there, they're going to bring people out, because there's a couple of tracks we go to or MotoAmerica goes to that just aren't that great at filling the crowds. But I think the places, the Ridge is horrible, man. The Ridge is, if you could cut one track out, I would cut out the Ridge. Yeah, I would cut out the Ridge and I bring back Pit Race. Because Pit Race draws from, if you look at within 6 hours of Pit Race, you got Ohio, you got, Pennsylvania, you got upstate New York, you can bring a huge crowd there this year. But the Ridge, it doesn't draw flies. It's not a great place. But I think they do it at the right rounds. They do it at Laguna, they do it at Jersey, they do it at Atlanta. Like, they do baggers at just the right rounds that can bring that crowd in. But if they could do them at every round, I think it's probably a cost issue and also a space issue, because you have these other series that you have to find room for. So you got the Twins Cup, you've got the Kramer Cup, you've got all these other bikes that you've got to find time for them to race as well.
Right. And it's like Lewis said, one thing is a cost thing. Talking to the guys at Harley and talking to the guys at Indian, just to build one of those bikes is about 1.5. Just over $1 million. Ooh. Over $1 million. Wow. So you crashing it, it's costing you a lot of money. And then, like, talking to the officials and everything else in MotoAmerica, it's a time thing. To try to put everybody in there, you're not going to have time. Just with the people that we have every round, every class, you run it to about 5 o'clock. And once 5 o'clock comes, you're like, can't run anymore. You got noise ordinance and you got the lighting level, you got everything. So you're just like, well, how much earlier and how much longer can we run? We're getting there, Sunday, we're getting back to the room around like 9 o'clock, and then to sit there and see your message come through, and you're like, hey, we got a 6 a.m. leave the hotel, call. Like, all right, what more can you do? Okay. That's all you got.
Cheetah, you want to chime in before we move on that?
No, I agree. I agree with everything they said. I think I'm good on that. I think I agree.
Okay, that's what's up. Let's talk about World Superbike, the Italian round in, where is this? Ursibis? Am I messing? I'm pretty sure I'm jacking that up.
Cremona.
Is it Cremona?
Yeah, just say Cremona. It's
Cremona. Let's go with that. Bulaga, Top Rock, Batista, all three races, first, second, and third. It's really like, first and second, and Batista was kind of running by himself in third place. Are you guys surprised that what Bulaga is doing against Top Rock, or is just the 25 BMW just doesn't have enough to compete with the Ducati yet?
That's an interesting question. I was thinking about what would happen if they were both on the same bikes, either or, and I was just like, who would come out on top? It's very interesting strengths they both have, and this track, we saw, Bulaga was getting taken advantage of in that last turn every single time, because Top Rack would just stuff it so hard. When they showed that overview cam, right above the cam, it looked like he was going to hit him every time. but just the skill of Toprak on the brakes. He was able to just stuff it right there, and you could hear them talking about it. But like, this is a track where Bulega just had more pace. Nothing Toprak could do about it, and so all he could do about it was just simply stuff the heck out of Bulega every single time and just hold him up. So prolong this whole getaway that Bulega did at the end of the day when he finally just made his way out. So Toprak might have used a lot of front tire just trying to keep up and do that while even doing that. So it was just really interesting to see, though. And then obviously you had everyone fall back from there. But just speaking about them too, man, it looks like it's going to be a Bulega Cup right now. And I don't think the BMW has it.
All right, Lewis.
I mean, I think Toprak's going to keep him honest the whole way through the season. I don't think Toprak's going to, he's a hungry dog. He's never going to let that bone go. Like, he's going to keep fighting for it. I think there's going to be a couple of tracks. Again, the BMW is going to have some strengths in some places where the Ducati doesn't. So there's a couple of tracks that are going to benefit the BMW. I think if they were both on the same equipment, I think these two guys would still be fighting it out. If they were both on Ducati, neither one of them would be running away from the other. If they were both on BMW, neither one of them would be running away from the other. I think these two guys are just the class of the group, the cream at the top. These two guys are just going to battle this whole way. But as I said last year, I knew that Bulega was going to be a problem when he came from Supersport because he's got a lot to prove. This is a guy that went through Moto2, Moto3, had his issues.
46 Academy.
Yeah, we got 46 Academy, everything else, and then kind of just found himself without a job one day. And then, fought his way back, got his Supersport, pretty much ran the table on everybody in Supersport that first year on the V2. Got his shot at the Superbike. And I mean, Alvaro Bautista was supposed to be the number one rider on that bike. And he's the number two rider on that bike. As far as I'm concerned, Bulega is the faster of the two. So he really is the factory number one Superbike rider for Ducati. And he definitely wants a championship, man. He's got a lot to prove. He's got that chip on his shoulder from, kind of getting pushed to the side, kind of get pushed out of the GP paddock and looking for a job.
It's starting to remind me of when he was on Yamaha. Toprak was, when he was still fighting so hard with Ray, but Ray just had the advantage with the top speed. Remember when Yamaha just didn't have it, but he still won the year after. I think Toprak's in a similar position, like very challenged by Bulega, but not letting off.
Yep. And Bulega is in the Toprak position where he fought really hard last year, but Toprak just had that little bit extra experience, that little bit extra time in Superbike. And now, Bulega had his year under his belt. He's learned, been able to find that pace. And now this year, I think it's just, I'm hoping it's going to flip. I really do want Bulega to win. With either one of them wins, I'm happy for them because I like both riders, but I definitely want to see Bulega at the top step because he's got a lot of people that he'd love to rub that championship in their face.
I can definitely see that. Reese, what are your thoughts, man?
I mean, I agree with both of them, man. I mean, it's, these guys are the cream of the crop. They're the top of their class, and they're both on the same bike. I mean, who's going to run away from who? You have the same identical bike, the same identical chassis, tires, every suspension. It's just going to come down to, hey, can I get you by 0.2 of a second or 1/10 or even 1,000th of a second to get you there? And like I said, Bulega's got a lot to prove. He's got a lot of things he's got to get off his chest. And, Toprak is just trying to figure out this new chassis. He's trying to figure it out and trying to get to that point. But I think Bulega I'm at the point where Bulega's going to take the championship this year, as long as he stays on too.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Bulega has the greatest chance of winning based on how the different riding that happened this past weekend. Because, Bulega just needed to get in front and then set his pace. Toprak was trying to stay in front of him, so he couldn't get his pace. And you can't win a championship like that, doing that kind of style. Where last year, Toprak didn't have to do that. He could just run his race and run out front and stay out front. But what about Alvaro? He's in third place. He's having a better season so far this year than last year. is it a matter of time for him and he'll get into his own? Because normally he would have a great race pace towards the end of the race, and he didn't have that this past weekend. Is he just riding out his contract, or is it can't be the weight of the bike at this point, right?
No, and I don't think it's so much he's riding out his contract. I mean, these guys are obviously giving all they got, right? But I think he's maybe come to some sort of a conclusion that Bulega just is that natural, that talent that's in right now, and he's just going to take that bike to a slightly different level. And Bautista wasn't slow, right? He was running his own pace, and no one could touch him, but he couldn't touch the top two either. So he was just steady, keeping third place nice and warm. The seat was warm. No one was messing with him. And I mean, maybe there's something here that happens in these next couple rounds that can get him in second place potentially, but I don't see him truly getting into first or second that easily right now.
I think he's losing to that one enemy that is undefeated throughout all of history, and that's Father Time, my man.
That's it.
I was going to bring that up too.
It's reality.
It's reality. You got a guy that's been around for a long time in Álvaro Bautista, man. He's got a lot of miles on him. The guy's got a lot of talent. The guy has a lot of skill. But the guy's got a lot of miles on him. The guy's got a lot of skill. And he's facing off against a 25-year-old young gorilla. And Álvaro Bautista is the 100 tiny guys trying to fight this 800-pound gorilla. And, he's got, on any given weekend, there's 800 5-foot guys shot, but that 800-pound gorilla is still an 800-pound gorilla, man. I hate to say it, but I think Álvaro is just getting to that point in his career where everybody eventually gets to that point in their career where those couple of tenths that used to come real easy to you aren't coming that easy anymore. And you can't figure out, like, what's going on with the bike. Like, I used to go 3/10 faster here or 4/10. Where'd I lose a half a second? I'm doing the same thing, and you think you're doing the same thing, but your body and your mind and your eyes and your coordination, they're fooling you into thinking you can still do that thing lap after lap, session after session, race after race. And then one day you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, damn, I'm old.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have that anymore. And that's what, still, he's in third place, man. That means he's still better than 21 other young bucks. Right, he's just not better than those two main young bucks.
He's not better than them two big silverbacks way up front.
Yeah, those
Bro, that's crazy though. That's crazy.
5'1" Álvaro.
How like that's crazy. You were mentioned that like on how when you're looking at a certain section, you just know you were faster than last year.
Yeah,
bro. That's the thing about data. Data can help you so much, but it's unrelenting when it comes to letting you know.
It could hurt your feelings.
It could hurt your feelings and hurt you like permanently.
I have seen that over at Attack. He be like, yeah, I'm giving it all I got. And then, the guys go in there and look at data and be like, it says you're only doing 85%. So
that's all I got today, coach. That's all I got.
That's all I got. I'm like, oh. Again, I thought it was 100% throttle. Nah, you're only 85%.
Even if Bautista's 90% of the Bautista he was, that makes him better than the 20 other guys behind him. But it doesn't make him better than that couple of guys in front of him, like that 5, 6, 7, 8% that you keep losing. That's just that extra quarter of a second slower lap, half a second slower lap. And next thing you know, you're coming in third place, 4.5 seconds behind the guys in first and second.
Right. Now, two things. Is this his last year on the Ducati Alvaro? And we'll give these two. We talked about a little bit because you mentioned Bulega having something to prove. But what's giving these guys the extra edge, right? Because the other 21 guys, they probably wake up in the morning or at any given time of the day say, I'm just as good or better than them. Because you have to think like that, right? So what's going on where, these two guys are finding the motivation and, Top Rock is on record saying it's a Ducati Cup. So, we have 4 other Ducatis that didn't show up really, for the weekend. I feel bad for Redden, just to throw his name out there because he's still hovering down in the same place like he was on the BMW. What's going on there?
I mean, I don't know. I'll say this though, like Bautista, I was just looking back at his GP career, right? He didn't have a phenomenal GP career, right?
No.
It was all right. It was very average and very mid-pack. And so he goes over to World Superbike and he starts winning like this. I think he ultimately knows that this is a result of something, right? Where you're in World Superbike, you're on the right bike, everything's going right for you, and this is a matter of time. So I think Father Time, like it's undefeated. He's got kids now. Things are different, right? But with these other two, I mean, they're younger. They got more to prove. It's as simple as that. I think Top Rex only won, one or two championships right now, right? So in Superbike at least. And Bulliga's got a lot to prove this year, considering how last year went. So I think they just have a lot more to prove combined with the Father Time effect. I think that's the reality.
I think for me, these two guys, if you look at any sport, the guys that prepare the best and have the best focus and the strongest mentality, they're going to do the best. You know, I mean, Kobe Bryant was this many feet tall. There was 27 other players in the NBA that were the same height as Kobe Bryant, same weight as Kobe Bryant, can run the same amount of speed from one side of the court as Kobe Bryant. But Kobe Bryant still outworked all of them. And I think when you're at this level, you got to outwork your guys on the track and off the track. So you got to mentally prepare, physically prepare, practice, train. And I think the two guys that are at the front, they're the sharpest swords. You know, I'm not going to say that any of the guys below them aren't, but if you can be 1-2, 1-2, 1-2 almost every single race, there's more to it than just the bike and the setup. I mean, that helps a lot, but you know, you got to be the sharpest knife in the drawer. And these two guys are the sharpest knives in the drawer. Alvaro Bautista, you know, like he was saying before, he was in MotoGP a long time, and his one accolade is the repair bill for how many bikes he fucking destroyed, because he was known for throwing a bike down the road and making sure that only the clip-ons came back. So he never really achieved anything great in MotoGP. He eventually got pushed out of the paddock, again, aged himself out, because there's a lot of, you know, I got 17, 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-olds that I can get this spot to for a lower price that can crash a bike just as good as Alvaro, but at least I can have them for 3 or 4 years. And hopefully by year 3, they're not crashing the bike as much. And then he went to World Superbike. His first year started out great. And then they made a small change because he was wiping the field with everybody on the original V4. And as soon as they made that change to the RPMs on his bike, what happened? Garage sale every corner on Ducati parts.
Yeah, he crashed a lot last year.
He crashed. No, I'm talking about the first year he rode with Ducati. When they first came out with the V4, he won the first, I think, 8 races in a row. So he won the sprint. And because of that, they have a rule that, you know, we got to slow his bike down a little bit. And as soon as they slowed his bike down a little bit, that's when he couldn't finish a race anymore. And that's when all of a sudden he lost the championship. He left Ducati and ended up going to Honda. And he could, for lots of money, but he couldn't do anything with the Honda. And then he came back to Ducati, and then all of a sudden he started winning again. So what does this tell me? That the rider's great, or that the bike is great, or the rider's great on that bike?
Well, Reese, I mean, Redden is struggling on the Ducati. He left Ducati, went to BMW, came back to Ducati, still struggling. What do you think? Is it the bike? Is it the rider? A combination of both?
On Redding, I mean, it's a combination, but then Lou said it best. Redding's at that point where it's Father Time. And you can't beat Father Time. Look at LeBron. You cannot beat Father Time. Father Time is going to sit your ass down and say, hey, you can't do this no more. You know, give it to the young guys.
Redding just looks really old. he just looks. He's only 32, 33 or 32.
He don't look. He looks old, but hold on. As we all know, you may look it, but you keep having them injuries. Your body starts saying, "Hey, man, I gotta chill with this."
Yeah. But in all fairness,
What's injured is his feelings from last race, man. I heard he came in kind of far back.
Yeah, he did get into MotoGP at age 15, right? He was the youngest, so I mean, he definitely was on a top stage for a while. So it could be time or something else. Speaking of time, we look at what Iannone did in race 1. He didn't have the pace at all, but he was able to. I don't know, 18, 19 laps, slow
roadblock,
a roadblock, like, and finish 4th place. Like, I mean, Reese, if your guys are struggling, your riders are struggling, and is that a strategy you use to say, hey, try to get out front and try to, just to keep the riders behind you? And how much energy does that take to do that?
I don't know nothing about no team orders, but I mean, we would hope, and there's never really team orders.
Not order, but if somebody's struggling that weekend, right? And you say, okay, well, maybe if you can get out front at the start of the race, maybe you can keep your position or fight to keep your position.
I mean, if you can get out front and keep a position, great. You know what I mean? It's just, it comes down to the 2 riders. I mean, it's never something coming out of the team. It's just, do your best. I mean, if we can get you up there and you get up there, normally that, as Lou would know, that comes between the two riders. He's going to be like, as Redding would say, there's no more rivalry. There's like in-house and everybody's cool and everybody's friends. He might, hey, look, if I can get up front, I can slow these guys down for you. Hey, I'll do it for you because you're leading the points championship or you're higher in the standings than me. And, maybe we can get you up there. It could be one of those scenarios. It's never out of us. It's always, that's because once they get out there, we got no control over these guys. They just, they go, we give them the weapon and say, here, do what you got to do, and, we want them to be up top. But now if they doing it themselves, hey, kudos for them. It helps. And, we don't know what Iannone was doing. He could have had it. Yeah. He could have had in his head, like, well, maybe if I can slow these guys down, those guys can get up front and just keep a barrier. It could have been something in his head, or it could have been something he talked to. Because, we all know Iannone wants to get to factory again, so he might have just put on as he wants to do, like a little help and try to show factory, hey, I'm here to support.
What are your thoughts, Cheetah?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. He's holding him up like that. It's a skill for sure. That's not easy to do. It takes a lot of effort and energy. And I think it can only be done at certain tracks. I think this one suited that a little bit more, just seeing how even Top Rack was keeping Bulliga from getting away. I think it's a certain tracks you can do it a little bit easier. Certain tracks, you're going into the braking zone so heavy and so hard that if someone's beside you, it's really, sometimes it can be a little more difficult to kind of block past them like that or stuff them. But yeah, I mean, but also to not take away from just Iannone as him being the blocker, the people behind him got to be able to pass. You got to be able to do what Bulliga did back to Top Rack and get beyond them and have that eye on the prize, which is those top 3 guys to keep you going. You can't let a guy like Iannone, even though as skilled as he is, to hold you back from doing that. So I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all.
Yeah, it sounds like those riders figured it out in race 2. But what are your thoughts, Lou?
No, I mean, I've always said that every position equals money. So if I got to be a rolling roadblock to stay in 4th, I mean, there's a difference in pay between 4th and 5th. You don't know what kind of contract he has. You don't know what he gets for 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And, that could be a, $30,000 or $40,000 difference in his pocket between 4th place and 5th place. And if I gotta do what I gotta do, use every trick in my bag to stay in 4th place, whether it's literally stopping in the middle of the corner and just making everybody stop, or dive bombing you into the corner and breaking up your pace or your exit speed, I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do to retain that position. This isn't club racing, man. This is professional racing. There's money involved. Sponsors pay him. The team pays him. And if you don't know all those little line items in his contract, I mean, 4th place is money, man. 4th place is an opportunity to, make some house payments and, pay for some cars. In his case, maybe some dental surgery, a little more plastic surgery. I don't know what he likes to do with his money, man. He's a wild dude, but
That could be like 30 grand, 40 grand right there.
Yeah. So
that should pay for a round of drinks for the other guys in the back that he blocked.
and even for his mechanics and for his team, mechanics get a little bit of cut too when they put together a package that gets you on a podium. So anything, if this was a club race, I'd be like, yo, my man's a rolling roadblock so he can help his friend out. But this is a professional race. And and he's, he knows that he's got to prove that he can be up there in the front and do what he can do. And riding defensively like that and keeping that many guys that really were chomping on the bit to get past you, to keep him back there that long, that's a long race for that guy, man.
Yeah, it was like 4th to 13th, right? Yeah, something like that. So.
Oh yeah, no, man. Trust me, man. He had the school bus sign out on the side of his bike, like, no passing. He had the flashers on, yeah.
The school bus, the red lights, the whole word say, don't pass, no passing. No
passing. He had the coach's shirt. Wait for the way by. Way by never came.
So what's going on there? We got 6 Ducatis, 2 doing well. The factory team seemed to be doing well. I mean, Petrucci did all right, but he had a little bit more pace. He had more pace than Inoni. But we got 4 satellite bikes that are struggling. For Ducati, is Ducati holding some parts back for these guys, or some things back? What do you think it is, or it's just the riders and the team just haven't found a good setup?
Reese can answer that. He knows you got to pay for parts.
Yeah, I was like, that's coming from the factory. They ain't getting those parts, man. You ain't getting those parts. We got this. I'm gonna give you side B of that. And Ducati ain't giving up all their secrets now. Come on, they ain't doing that. I doubt they doing that one.
You think that's what it is? They holding back on some pieces?
Yeah, of course. It's just like how Ducati holds back on certain parts in GP. What? Garcini gets some, and then we'll give what we gave Garcini, but we're only going to give maybe a little bit down to VR46, and we're going to give a little less to the next one. They're not giving all them parts up. Because if they are, then Ducati wants, when Ducati wins, they want they want factory to be up there. They want that red to be on there. That's their color, that's their brand, that's who they want to win. They don't want another color. They don't mind the brand winning, but they want the color of the brand to win.
So, Jorge Martin, satellite win last year changed things up.
Oh yeah, for sure. Listen, man, I was at Sunday. I was at MotoAmerica. I'm standing there in the booth of Warhorse SBK's Supersport. I'm there for Riston. He was injured. I'm standing there with his dad. We look over, and I'm like, "Where's Reese at?" I don't see Reese anymore. I see Attack. They put the curtains up real quick, and and there's something going on inside that no one else can see, right? So I'm telling you, them curtains come back down in 5 minutes. I'm like, what they do in 5 minutes that they couldn't show, right? But that goes to show that they're moving out some parts, moving some things around that the public just can't see. You're gonna see the bike before, and you're gonna see the bike after, but you won't see what changed. And of course, man, they're holding out on parts, right? If Attack was the team handing out parts, they're gonna not give out the newest and latest to the competition, right? So I for sure see that happening. I feel like that's not even an option for them to buy those parts. Some of those parts they're only giving out to Bulliga and Bautista up there. So for sure, man. I mean, just how the games work in these things. Maybe in GP it's a little bit more, spread out evenly because they're all prototype bikes. They're not making different kinds of those parts so many because they are prototype. But I could see it definitely.
And Lewis, I mean, from my understanding, you could buy all those parts from Ducati if you want to. I mean, are there some parts that are just not for sale?
Well, even when you can buy parts, that doesn't mean they're going to sell you the best parts. And even when you buy parts, it doesn't mean they're going to give you the best software and the best setup and the best this and the best that. Like, they'll give you the parts. You got to figure it out. We're not going to help you. We're not going to drive you from point A to point Z. We'll get you from point A to point J, and you got to figure the rest out yourself. Because we figured it out ourselves, and we paid for it, and we developed it and everything else. And we want to make sure that our bike is, again, our bike's got to be at the top of the box. So here's the part. Figure it out.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, that wasn't the best part we made. That was like it didn't come out of the jig right. It didn't come out of the casting 100%. So here you go, man. Might be some rough edges on the mold. Like, when I was walking around the paddock this weekend and I was looking at like the R9s, everybody that is in the know knows who's making the R9 motors. Those bikes are about as stock as a Lamborghini is stock to being a Ford. I mean, the only thing stock on them is the screws that they're using to hold the motor in place. That's about it. Like the swing arm, that doesn't look like an R9 swing arm, man. I could be wrong, but that doesn't look like an R9 swing arm. The air box, that's not a stock looking air box or air induction system. But again, you buy the right parts, you buy the bike, all of a sudden your bike's right at the front. Because where are the rest of the R9s? I see 2 R9s doing really well. Track racing R9s, and they got 2 really good riders, but they're not the only R9s out there. Why aren't the other R9s staying up and doing lap records and top speed in the speed trap?
It's because the other teams don't have Strack on it. On the name.
Nah, it's not. Strack is on the outside of the box. What's inside of the box is a different name. Trust me.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, but they don't have Strack.
Strack's not built for motors.
They don't
man.
have Strack dollar signs. That's what I'm saying, man. And they don't know miss somebody from who's on this podcast right now too.
Yeah, exactly. They don't get that special sealed crate. That curtain that comes up, they move that curtain from one trailer to the next. Trust me.
White label.
So Redding and these guys, I mean, they're gonna get bikes, but I mean, I hate to say it, I think Redding was burned out when he was in MotoGP. I think they did the same thing to him that they kind of did to Jack Miller, except Jack Miller was able to be a little more successful than Redding. Mm-hmm. And I've never believed Redding to be like a super top flight rider. Like I would have liked to see Redding compete in Moto2 and win a Moto2 championship and kind of work his way to MotoGP. And if that had happened, to be very honest with you, I don't think he would have ever made it to MotoGP had he gone through Moto2. If you look at the people he would have had to race against in Moto2 in those years.
Right.
So he was given this pass to MotoGP. He was given the keys to the kingdom. He never really did much with them in a significant race, like in a dry weather condition and this, that, and the other. He never really did anything. And, he's a very competent rider, but in any other series, he would just be a good rider. And that's all he is now. He's a good rider. He's been on factory bikes. He's been on top end bikes. He's been supported by the best, and he could never put it together. So it's not the bike, man. There's just a point where you just got to admit this guy is a little bit either overrated, except in his mind. In his mind, he's the greatest rider ever because he beat Marquez when he was like 12 years old. And to this day, that's his claim to fame. To this day, they interview him and he still says, I used to race against Marquez and beat him on a regular basis. Yeah, you were 12, bro. Like, Marquez used to cheat. Marquez used to cheat. He used to get special parts from HRC and this and that. And his bike was faster and they used to let him cheat with the ECU. And
oh man, he's been dropping it down for a minute now.
How old are you, bro? Yeah, man.
I mean, people around MotoAmerica can say that because Cam and JD raced against Marquez, and Cam beat Marquez when they were younger.
Yeah,
in the Red Bull Cup.
Crazy.
Sam Lowe's, he did all right a little bit. Had a crash, I believe, race one.
A Lowe's brother crash?
He did do
really?
All right.
I've never heard of that.
Let's talk about Honda. Ikaluka Ono keeps crashing out, but he did finish in race 2 well. Honda looks really good. Honda looks very competitive. It really looks like it's Honda, BMW, and Ducati, if you ask me. And I think if Ika Ono didn't crash out the first 2 races, it might even been more interesting. What are you guys' thoughts on what Honda is doing over in World Superbike right now, and maybe touch on the struggles of Kawi because those guys are top 10.
Well, I got some issues there.
Lewis, you want to go?
I mean, I'm impressed by what Honda's doing because they're being competitive. I mean, again, if he didn't crash out, he would have had 2 top 7 finishes in the same weekend. Top 5.
Yeah, easy. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he was still battling in the top 5, 6 4, 5, 6 in that area. But yeah, he would have had 2 really, really good finishes. And for Honda, that's huge, man, because the CBR really hasn't been at the pointy end of the stick since Jonathan Ray.
I was gonna say before Nicky Hayden got on.
Wow.
I think it's impressive to see them doing that well in the dry conditions. So it shows that Honda's definitely putting some money and some effort into trying to get the bikes up in front. And again, if Ika Lukawana needs to just, I don't know, find that little bit of patience, because every crash that he has is self-inflicted wounds, man. It's never anything but self-inflicted wounds. I've never seen somebody else take him out. I've seen him rub against people, but nobody's ever taken him out. He takes himself out. He starts to override the bike. He gets excited. Something's happening inside that helmet that if he can get past that little mind blockage or whatever it is that causes him to have those mistakes, at the end of the year, he could finish top 5 in the championship, man. And for Honda, that's finishing first place.
It's winning, Lewis.
It's winning the championship.
That's the problem. He just wants to win.
Yeah, but you got to understand, you're not on the bike to win. And sometimes you got to understand, look, I'm going to get the most I can out of this bike with the understanding that I still got to finish the race.
Right.
What's so great about racing in 5th place for 21 laps and then you crash out before the end of the race? Like, you got to finish the race. Like, that's what, as a team manager, as a team owner, I know that my bike's not that good, man. My bike can't compete with Ducati and BMW on any given day. It could probably compete with Kawasaki because this is a shit box. And it could compete with whatever the hell that Yamaha Kawasaki is, because that's a shit box in a weird frame.
Well,
but I just want you to finish the race, man. Right. I want you to bring me results week in and week out. I want you to stop bringing me receipts for buying more parts because you keep crashing. And if you can't do that for me, then I got to find another rider. As good as you are, man, I can't just keep dumping money into this program with no results because you keep crashing my bike.
Cheetah.
Reese, what do you think? Or Cheetah?
Oh, Reese, either one.
Yeah, man. You want to go, Reese?
Nah, go ahead, take it over, G.
No, I mean, I think that's really good to see. I haven't kept up with Honda in the past couple of years like you guys have, but it's interesting to see that, Ducati is the bike that's holding them up right now, and I think it was actually, I think if like you said, if Licuana hadn't crashed out, he probably would have been right there in top 6, top 7. And Javi Vieira, I can't say his last name. Yeah, he was held up by Iannone, right, in race 1, but like for him to be right there is really good to see. I mean, obviously we don't see any of the Kawasaki's nearby, and Bimoda hasn't been, the riders just haven't been able to do what they wanted to do, and I think they were doing pretty good, top 6, top 5 in the testing initially, and the first race where it was, I forget, Portimao or somewhere. They did some really good testing and looked like they were going to be a threat, but not so much. So to see Honda come up right now, it's good for the sport. It's good for Honda overall, I think. So it's good to see that.
Reese, you had something to say about the Kawasaki Bimoda? You actually have belief in that bike?
Nah, I don't have belief in the bike, but from what I hear, I mean, Cowie is still putting all their efforts into it and putting a lot of stuff into it. And from what I've been told, they pretty much, even though was that the team that Garrett's on is supposed to be AKA Factory Cowie, they just told Garrett, hey, we're not going to put no more into this. And, what you got is what you got. So that's what I've been told, but they're still putting all the development over there with Bimoda. Like, they gave Bimoda all the ECUs, they gave them everything and say, here, we'll help develop and give that. But I think with Bimoda, their chassis is not working right with what they got. Yep. Because I know from what I also heard that Garrett's making a stand to come back.
Yeah, Garrett. I heard similar things. I don't think Garrett's going to be in World Superbike come next year, man.
No, I think he wants to come back.
MotoAmerica. That'll be.
I think he wants to come back, but on a competitive bike. And then like Honda, you got to look at Honda too in the World Superbike. They're making a competitive edge. And then Honda over here in America is actually pushing. Honda's been getting a big push over here, and by Gillum and JD. And Gillum's been pushing Honda, and their Honda's back in Guillemot. I mean, they rolled out freaking Miguel Duhamel's whole trailer out of a warehouse, so you got to look at that. Like Honda's putting in some money right now. So they're in it.
Unlike the Cowie. Before we get out of here, oh man, I think I lost my train of thought there. Oh yeah, there it is. It came back to me. Speaking of Honda, a lot of rumors around Top Rock may go to Honda, World Superbike, and hopefully head to MotoGP that way. Have you guys heard anything about that? Is just rumor mill?
That would be absolutely stupid.
No, I think that's this is an interesting topic, right? But like I think just it will be interesting to see that if he goes, because they're offering it for next year is the rumor, right? Like, so if he goes in next year and doesn't wait till 27, he might as well wait till 27, right? So everyone's on an even platform and less pressure to shift all of a sudden and learn to own the platform. And he's sort of doing pretty good here still on the Beamer, right? He's given a lot of trouble to Bulliga. So it would be wise to stay here where he's at, because one thing I heard was that Gypsy Tales thing, right, was where Ben Spies was talking about how similar Top Rack's riding style is to his, and they even had a chat about this. But back when Ben Spies was a similar rider to Top Rack in his days, very hard breaker, right, would turn the bike and get it going. I think when he made that shift, he said that was the hardest thing in GP, was that in GP, you have to get these chassis all the way in and really put a lot of torque onto the side when they're on the side of the tire to get the tires to work and the suspension to work. And so he could just never do that. And he foresees sort of Top Rack having those same issues, especially this late into his career, even though he's only 25, right? But I think Top Rack can get it done. I think Top Rack can be a real threat. I just think it'd be better if he waited till 27. It's my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think Top Rack's going anywhere next year. I mean, at least with Honda, because Honda only has one open seat for next year. Well, technically they have two open seats. They have Johan Zarco and they have Luca Marini. Neither one of those guys have a contract for 2026. Johan Mir is locked in all through 2026 until 27. So one, if I'm a factory rider and I've got a contract through 26, even if I'm finishing in 10th place or crashing out every race, I'll try to crash out early in the race so I won't have to actually sit the entire race and waste my day coming in 9th place.
Yo, if Top Rack comes to Honda along with
I think what's going to happen is Luca Marini is probably going to lose his spot. Johan Zarco is probably going to stay in his spot because I don't see Honda moving him from the factory bike, from the satellite bike. They're going to keep him on a satellite bike. He's a great rider. He's a great development rider. He helps a lot with the input on the direction the bike's going. So there's no reason to lose him. I'm sure they'll pay him well to stay with the satellite team. And then they'll bring Acosta in, and Acosta will replace Marini. And then in 27, after Mir goes through 26, depending how things go between now and then maybe that's something that Top Rack can talk about for 27. But I don't think Honda's going to pay out Mir's contract to have him give up his seat to get Top Rack in. And again, he's not a proven rider in GP, and GP is a much different animal. Everybody keeps saying, oh, but he tested a Honda bike. Yeah, he tested a Honda bike a long time ago, man.
Yeah.
And he or was it a Honda or a Yamaha? I think it was a Honda.
He tested a Yamaha.
Okay.
But Top Rack did say he's not jumping on a secondary satellite team. He said,
yeah, and here's the thing, man. By him saying that, all he's doing is saying, I don't want to go to MotoGP.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to put you on a factory team where you've never proven yourself on this bike, and this bike works a lot different than that World Superbike.
Right.
And I got these 27 other young riders here. Like, if I bring you to my factory team, it's only because I want to use you as a marketing piece. That's it. Because I know you're not gonna be that talented to figure out this bike that fast. So I'm gonna be paying for a lot of parts because you're gonna throw the bike down the road a lot of times. And it's really just to say that I got Top Rack on my team. There's no factory team that wants that. Factory teams are here to win, man. That's why Honda, I think, is going to make a huge push to get Pedro Acosta and replace Marini with Acosta and keep moving in that direction. One, because they want to make sure there's always a Spanish rider on the Honda factory team. And if Mir's coming up to retire, I think Mir's going to retire after 26, to be honest with you, man. I don't think Mir's going to continue to ride.
No. Unless he went to World Superbike or somewhere else.
Yeah.
Nah, I think he'll straight retire, man. He's got plenty of money, and
he's trying to stay healthy. He keeps crashing.
Healthy, man. The Honda, unless the Honda changes dramatically and he can keep it together, why am I going to keep bringing up my body? I'm married. I got a kid. I got more money than I'm ever going to need. I could retire young and enjoy it, or I can stick around and, keep injuring myself and become a disgruntled old racer that just keeps getting slower.
slower.
And collecting checks. Alvaro Bautista to the very end.
Hey, listen, till the wheels fall off, man. You know how it is. You got to tell me I got to leave. I ain't just leaving.
Yo, you changed the locks on the garage. Why can't I get in? It's a sign. We don't want you back.
We don't want you here, man. You got to go.
Cold on the garage.
It's like 2 years later, you're still showing up.
Still showing up with your leathers in your car. It's like, yo, just in case you need somebody. I got my gear.
I got my gear. I'm ready to go.
Sometimes it's got to be like that. MotoGP is in France this weekend coming up. Any surprises out that you guys want to put a nickel on? Is it just going to be Ducati again?
Yeah, it's going to be a surprise on how many seconds that the Marquez pull away. That's going to be a surprise.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's not. I think it's just gonna go exactly how it's been going, man. I think we're gonna see some mix up with Mark and Alex and Pecco, and I don't know who's gonna be fourth. It's gonna be one of the VR46 boys potentially. Yeah, but it's gonna be just like that all season long, I think.
I got Quartararo pulling another magic card this weekend at home, man. After what he did last week and going home to France, knowing that he's got a little bit more pace. You always got that extra couple of tenths that you get on your home track. I think he'll be right up there in the mix. Bro, so I think it'll be the usual suspects.
I think they're doing the new motor too.
Nah. They're not putting the V4 in. They tested the V4 again the Monday after Jerez, but it's not ready to go yet.
Okay.
It's going to be a wild card. That motor's going to be a wild card in one of the rounds.
Yeah.
But see, I didn't say Quartararo like Lewis did because, Lou got that commentator's curse and whatnot. As soon as, last time, he said Morbidelli down the road. I was like, damn.
Yo, he was there, man. I'm telling you, Morbidelli was there.
Oh, my God.
He loves to let me down, man.
Lewis got that commentator's curse, boy. I was just like, I'm not even going to say it. I ain't going to put the curse on Quartararo.
I said Morbidelli was going to do good in Argentina because he was close to Brazil, and I got some weird looks, and then he did really well in Argentina. I just been riding that horse ever since.
You didn't really mean it when you said it that time.
No. I've been riding the horse ever since.
I think it's gonna be the usual suspect. Although Quartararo is showing signs, Vinales is showing signs. I think Bezzecchi still has something, and I think Zarco will have that same motivation. I think as Quartararo, and Zarco has had more consistent results than Quartararo on that Honda. So it'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to it, though.
That should be a good race, man. I think
should be a good one.
That the Le Mans always brings out some good racing. Hopefully, knock on all the woods. That thing that we don't want to happen happens. That happens a lot in France. Weather. But if it's a dry race, it'll be a really good race. And if it's a wet race, I mean, then I really see Zarco pulling something special out, man. Yeah. But I would actually prefer if Zarco was on the podium in a dry race, just so he could prove that he's got the juice and the Honda's heading in the right direction, man.
No doubt. All right, guys. I want to thank you all for coming on tonight. It's the B4evaKool podcast. My name is Rex 45. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.